Hallo und willkommen zurück zu Trails of Cold Steel 3. Aber ich bin schon im Game drin und genau auf die Carry the Notes. Ich bin nämlich gerade nochmal reingeguckt, was alles thematisch bezüglich jetzt nochmal Bonding-Events jetzt nochmal offen war. Oder dann Thema ist. Sollte gut aussehen, dass wir doch alles kriegen, wenn ich es jetzt richtig gelesen habe. Was jetzt noch alles so reinkommt und so. Dementsprechend sehr gut. Aber wir kümmern uns erstmal darum, die ganzen anderen Kram drumherum zu machen, bevor wir uns um irgendwie große Bonding-Events kümmern. Ich werde uns ein großes Bonding-Event-Segment dann haben. So, wir waren bei Wanker Street und haben das letzte Mal aufgehört. Deswegen wollen wir auch als nächstes nach Wester Street. Ich will ganz kurz gucken. Wir waren noch nicht in Laker, ne? Ne, gut. Dann gehen wir erstmal nach Wester Street als nächstes. Also wir sind ja jetzt gerade am Tag des Summer Festivals. Im Final Chapter. Ein bisschen was noch Spaß vor uns. Wir sind noch nicht ganz im Final Chapter, ne? Ist noch nicht Final Chapter, nee. Wir sind noch in Chapter 4, aber wir sind kurz vorm Final Chapter. Es dauert echt nicht mehr viel. So, dann wollen wir erstmal zu... What are you doing? Warum läufst du gegen Luft, also gegen die Luftwand? Anyway, wir gehen erstmal zur Bracer Guild. Weil Agatha die anscheinend chillt. Oh, and Louise was telling me, crying out loud, it's been a non-stop talking since I got here. Peter, I think you already know, but today you're going to spend the whole day with me. You promised. Oh, I'm so excited. I wrote a bunch of letters home about it last month. You did? Oh. Ich will nicht Erikas Reaktion wissen, sobald sie den Brief sieht. Agony? What's wrong? It's nothing. I was imagining the cold glare of a demon I met back in size. Yep. I do want to go look at some shops later, okay? There is one I've been looking forward to going to with you. Sure. I want to go? You know, it's not it. Just gotta wait till Sarah and the others are back is all. Okay then. I guess she's really got Agathas number. Ja, die zwei, also wenn sie nicht daten, was dann? So, wir können auch noch Gifts kriegen. Oh, hier ist noch ein kleines Sandcast drin. Also hier ist noch was Kleines drin. Da. Ach so, das ist ein... Später. Not yet. Später. Oh, da Bennett auch hier gerade steht. Wir können immer noch mit Bennett reden. Ich mag also mal mit Bennett zu reden. I'm gonna need purebred too. Huh. I've been baking bread for over 10 years now. Darn you, Felly. I mean, I wouldn't lose to a slagger like Oscar. Also mit dem Purebred können wir uns den Bread angucken. Gut. Dann Martha gibt es uns gerne noch ein Geschenk. Danke. Und wir können uns in der Tavern. Da ist Blut. Aren't. Thank you. Dann Sank District. Suchen wir uns mal ein paar... Ihr seht schon die ganzen Michi-Plushies. Oh, sie reden mit Rosine. Ah, Instructor Rain. Hello, Schwarzer. It was a lovely ceremony earlier. I agree. Good work to you and your students. Thanks. By the way, it's unusual to see you three together. I remember seeing you during the ceremony, but it was you had come to Heimdall too, Rosie. I'm here to help out with the special mass tomorrow. I arrived here not too long ago and happened to run into Patrick. Though we were in different classes, I always appreciate running into a fellow graduate. Oh, yes, you were invited to the palace this evening, right, Schwarzer? Father and I will both be there, so let's talk more then. Sure thing. Enjoy the Summer Festival, you guys. Ich weiß auch noch nicht, ob wir es schaffen werden, zu der Party heute zu kommen, weil ich weiß, die Party-Cutscene wird lang. Die wird lang, weil da viel passieren wird und du mit sehr vielen Leuten reden darfst. Man kann sich das so ein bisschen vorstellen wie in Sky the Third, wo man diese kleine Hochzeitsparty hatte von Queen Alicia, wo man dann nochmal mit allen Leuten da reden konnte. Das wird so ähnlich sein. That's all, Festival, guys. Oh, I thought I'm already enjoying myself. After all, I was able to glimpse my young master's face once more. Also ich würde damit rechnen, dass wir mindestens so 2 Stunden da drin stecken werden. I told you to stop calling me that. I need to run some errands today, but it's all here. I'll be able to chat at some point. Muss man auch mit Celestine reden? Going to the party at the palace tonight, Celestine? I'm not. I'll be attending the party hosted by City Hall this evening. They will accompany Masters Ryan and Alex. Oh, those names sound familiar. They're my brothers, the eldest and the second eldest of the Hiram's children. Normally they are busy fulfilling their duties abroad, but they are coming back to Heimdall for the party. Oh, I'm sure the Marquis will be happy to have all his sons together again. Indeed, he is practically beaming. Von ihnen haben wir auch mal bisher noch nicht. Zumindest nicht, dass ich wüsste. So, hier gibt es jetzt einen Bookstore. Bei dir? Ah. Kobe NDM Museum kann man sich hier holen. Wenn man es noch nicht hat. Oder man kann sich Imperial Chronicles holen, die man vermisst hat, aber wir müssten halt alle haben. Ne? Yep. Die lesen sie ja immer sehr aufmerksam und sehr oft. Dann Race Course. Ich will gerne noch kurz gucken. Wir haben das dann in die 3 jeweils. Total Ballade ist in Sankt, oder? Ja. Denn wir können uns schon hier eine Sache abholen. Wo haben wir sie? Wo haben wir sie? So haben wir sie. Da. Ah, jetzt sagt der Schwarze. Hello there, everyone. Thanks for your help earlier, Sharon. German here, yeah? You've come all this way to Heimdall? Yes, I've arrived late last night. Elisa told me about your spoils. It was all thanks to everyone, and your daughter helped a lot too. I guess it's fair to say she's grown up a little. Though her work in the 4th Development Division could use some work. Ich finde es sehr interessant, wie casual sie einfach damit umgeht, dass gerade ihre Tochter gerade so eine World-Level-Threat beseitigt hat. Und sagt so mal, sie ist ein bisschen gewachsen, so, ne? Also, Irina, chillt. Ich bezweifle es, dass du gegen einen 900 Jahre alten Drachen gefightet hast in deiner Zeit. German. I hate to say this now, but I quite regret not being able to help Master Irina and Lady Alyssa yesterday. But I'm glad you're okay. Thank you. You two will be attending the party at the palace tonight. Yes, I was invited along with my father. However, I need to get some work done before then. Maybe I should just take it easy for now. Hey, Chairman, allow me to help you. In that case, can you take care of the arrangements for the M&A? Of course, my lady. She's really something else. Masterine, I have something for you. I do hope you will accept. Die Mirage Cape. Das kriegen wir, weil wir ihr Bonding Points gemixt haben. Did you make this, Sharon? Yes, especially for you. If it pleases you. I mean, it does, but why? Because you always treat me as well, so well, Master Reen. I just wanted to show you how appreciative I am. Oh, thank you so much. I'll be sure to order it close. Komm mal angucken, was macht das Mirage Cape? Da. Speed Union. Ich würde die Crit Rate auch hier ein bisschen behalten mit CP-Gain dementsprechend. Yes, please. Evasion 20 ist halt nice. Schmeckt. Gut. Und das. 2 können wir noch Investor Street abholen, aber eine werden wir noch nicht gleich abholen können, weil wir haben noch nicht leer gemaxt. Das wird aber noch kommen. So, zurück zum Race Course. Hey, it's Mandy and Linda. I didn't expect to see you two here. Oh, hey there, you two. Oh, what a coincidence. I still can't get over how tall our guy has gotten. Yeah, I almost didn't recognize him, and Ellie's gotten more handsome too. Oh, and congrats on making your musical debut as a fellow member of the Wind Orchestra. I'm really proud of you. Oh, thanks. You two have really grown up too. Oh, you think so? I don't really feel like I have, but it has been over a year and a half. One way or another, we've all grown since our school days. We've become the branch campus's newest Linda, and you're working on Panzersoldaten now, Mint. I'm glad to see you have each found a good path to follow. I think a group of 4 is perfect for the summer festival. Speaking of groups, I hear that Uncle Makarov instructed Mary on Heimdall. Information says that they were seen out on a date on the east side. I hope Uncle Makarov's doing okay. I have to check up on him later. I'm sure you'll be thrilled to see his favorite niece. Hier sehen wir noch im Verkopplungsmodus ist mit den beiden, ne? Ich hatte jetzt alle Gifts abgegeben, ne? Ja, gut. Das haben wir noch gemacht. Jetzt können wir mal double checken. Das können wir jetzt noch machen. Dann können wir uns noch die letzte Radio-Story abholen. Ich glaube, du, oder? Der auf dasselbe Pferd gesetzt hat wie wir. I went to the doctor this morning to check on my condition, and it was a miracle. My chronic condition that was getting worse is finally starting to get better. Earlier that I was convinced it was all thanks to Liner Bloom. Now that I think about it, my condition started getting worse when Liner Bloom started doing worse. I'm glad I believed and waited it out. Liner Bloom, huh? He was rumored to be retiring soon, but made a miraculous comeback. His condition got better, as if they are connected. Should share the story of Monk. Monk, here you go. And that's the story. So. Dann Heimdall Airport. Hier kann man noch mit einer anderen Person reden, nämlich. Wo bist du? Wo bist du? Wo bist du? Da, Hugo und Becky. So, what's the script, Hugo? For as I can tell, you're abusing your relationship with the government to gain an upper hand on your competitors. Is that the economic theory stuff you're always going on about? A bit cheeky, don't you think? Sounds like you've learned a few new words, Becky. But when we were in school, you didn't even know how to calculate your ROA. Shut it and answer the question. Well, good to see you're improving. To be honest, I don't mind answering a few questions from a peer. But I'm far too busy to deal with small fry like yourself. So if you want to keep me listening, you better have something worth listening to. There's some balls you've got on you wee man. Small fry? Huh. Hope you remember this when you're bubbling at my feet, ballbag. I don't know what Hugo's thinking, but I better just leave this to Becky. I'll check in with her again when she's free. Irene, good to see you again. I'm actually here to see Becky and congratulate on establishing your own company. This new comedy network thing of hers is going to put her into direct competition with me, but, well, let's just see how she fares after the 8 Metropolis plan goes into effect. Now that should be interesting. Alright. Ein bisschen Ridery going on. Ah. Ja, hier müssen wir noch in Ausschau halten. Ah, Junior-Chat hier. Ein Charakter, den ich schon die ganze Zeit gerne sehe, sobald er auftaucht. See a familiar face over there. I thought I sensed a strange presence inside here. Didn't feel it yesterday. Ja, Ballard, nee. Mit dem wollen wir nicht reden. Das ist nicht die Person, die ich meinte. Da drüben einmal. Die Black Record, genau. So. Und Wo ist? Where is my girl? Ich muss gerade suchen. There's my girl. Aureen. Hello there. Lisa, Ferris, and Josette. You two know her? Yes, I have her ship things. For the development division sometimes. She's really great, always ready to go whenever we need her. I have her deliver our fresh produce to record as well. I wasn't aware that Elisa was a fellow customer though. Well, I appreciate all the business. You're not a huge company, so being able to make quick deliveries is our big selling point. But we've been getting more and more regular customers lately, so I'd say business is going well. Keeping everything running smoothly is a lot of work, but it's better than leaving it to my brothers. Oh, so not only do you make the deliveries, you manage the company too? You're so young, yet you own your own business. It's wonderful. Oh no, being in charge of a shipping company is nothing compared to what you two do. So all 3 of them are managers, huh? What a coincidence. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Vor allem, dass Josette meine Manager wird, ist halt auch... Never would have thought of that. Also wenn man Josette das erste Mal so kennenlernt, das hätte, also das war nicht auf meinem Bingo. Josette wird Manager. Aber hey. So, da haben wir Legger. Wir haben das Café und ihr müsst irgendwo Emma rumschreien. Wir müssen nämlich noch mit Solin reden. Ah, da. Im Café kriegen wir erstmal Geschenke. Geschenke. Vielen Dank für den Supreme Shortcake. Celine. Beziehungsweise ihr zwei. I have no interest in human celebrations, but you guys are on break, so go have fun. Just go and stretch out in the sun or something. Was nicht Celine? Was nicht Celine? Doch. Ah. Ich muss dafür noch einen Trigger vorher machen. Okay. Jetzt braucht noch einen Trigger. So, dann. Oh, you're here? Oh, would you like to experience the Libandas style for yourself? Ring? Oh no, sorry, but I must decline. This good try lesson looks pretty popular. This might be a strange question to ask, but do you play Vanish Mastery? Yes, I do. Do you play it too? Yes, one of my students introduced me to it. I know I may be a little old for it, but I never back down from a challenge. Oh, I found myself wanting to face more worthy opponents. Oh, you must be really good. I don't know about it. Would you like to face me and find out? Presence, I guess it shouldn't be a surprise, considering who she is. But I should probably work on my skills before I challenge her. Also, there's the issues of my cards, to make sure I'm ready to face her. Would it be okay if I accept your challenge some other time? Certainly. So, wir challengen sie mal. Of course. Alright, feel free to challenge me whenever you're ready. Let's do so. Paladin. You please select one random card? Right. Ich will mal changen, danke. Das ist eigentlich eine sehr schöne Opening Hand. Kannst weiter Chip Damage machen erstmal und du baust dich weiter hoch. Swankari's Reckon ist interesting, aber es könnte eigentlich sogar eher zum Verhängnis werden, to be honest. Einmal hier, dann einmal da. Dann attacken wir hier schon mal rein mit ein bisschen extra Damage. Die schütze ich mal raus. Und dann kommst du noch rein. So. Ich mal gucken, ob ich schon eine Karte ziehen kann. Skill. So. Dich weg. Dich weg. Skill. Damage. Damage. So. Nein, abstehend. Mein Line-Up gewinnt. So, das ist jetzt halt. Das ist halt safe. Card Impressorine. I suppose Horsemanship isn't your only skill. I could say the same about you. Just say I'm surprised. Seems the Stormwatch is just as good a leader of a nation as she is people. As a practitioner of martial arts, being able to lead is but a basic requirement. And your cardplay was remarkable, Rain. Why not hear those words from you? I guess your reward for your victory. Please accept this. Eine Mastercourse, die ich bisher noch nicht hatte. Chevalier! Is this a Mastercourse? I can't accept this. I believe you can. Even though it was just practice, I was able to ascertain your true strength. I feel at ease knowing you're the one taking care of Kurt. What I'm giving you is but a sign of my acknowledgement of you. I feel almost embarrassed to receive such kindness from you. But I understand. I'll do my utmost in order to meet your expectations. Your conviction. Give all 28 varieties of Master Quartz. Das ist literally die letzte Master Quartz, die mir gefehlt hat. Was kann Chevalier eigentlich? Physical Damage up ist HP Drops und Crit Rate up. Not only rare from KO in Battle. So ein bisschen, eigentlich so ein bisschen defensive. Ja, was? Was kriegst du? Muss immer schon Kaleido fertig lernen. Und Jerry ist auch kurz vor dem fertig sein. Wow. Achso, das heißt aber, dass du die Zeit auf Feuer hast. Eine Feuerwehr wäre halt angebracht. Ich glaube, ich habe keine Bells mehr, ne? Also keine, die auch wirklich boosten mit. Ich werde nicht so viel Arts casten mit ihr, das ist halt so entsprechend nicht sehr worth it. Oh, wir könnten theoretisch gleich ein Buch lesen. Oh. Wollen wir das klein machen? Theoretisch, ja. Da haben wir das nämlich schon weg. Wird aber halt ein bisschen dauern. Ja, dann lesen wir gleich Bücher, bevor wir uns zum Sidequest kümmern. Aurene, you're here! Hi, Dorothy. This must have been a crazy few days for you. Was everything okay after we left yesterday? Yes, thankfully. For a while there, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I'm glad everything's okay now. Thanks to you, Emma, and everyone else, I appreciate what all of you did. It must have been terrifying down there. Not as much as it would have been alone. It's thanks to all the help we got that we pulled it off. Anyway, I'm surprised to see you guys open again so soon. Oh yes, the MP were very efficient in cleaning the place up. And thanks to those two who came to advise us, the bell has been moved to a safe place. Those two? I think you're well acquainted with them, Reen. Professor Lukeman suggested we deal with the bell as soon as possible, and I think that was the right choice. The two who helped are actually still in the museum. You should go say hello while you're here. Sure thing. Does she mean... Is Professor Lukeman here today? No, he was on duty yesterday, so it's one of the other professors' turns today. He might be at the academy though. Should I call him? No, that won't be necessary. I'll go say hello to these mystery guests in the back. Emma and I are going to have a little get-together today. I'm actually about to take my break and go meet with her. Oh yeah? Ah, now that I think of it, you were both in a literature club. Literature club. Huh? Don't worry about us. I hope you two have fun catching up. Oh, we will. Now, if you excuse me. Two people gave advice on moving the bell. They must be well versed in all the phenomena. Should head to the exhibition room. Natürlich haben sie jetzt Displays für ihre Flugschiffe eingepackt. Oh, great, Professor Schmidt, so it was you two. Hello, Irene. Fancy meeting you here. What is it? I was just wondering what happened after we left yesterday. I guess it was you two who made sure the bell was safe to move. That's right. I got a call yesterday afternoon and came to help. The RF company get me a workbench and some industrial-grade filler to keep the thing from ringing. That'll explain why I didn't see you anywhere last night. We're just about now. It's being stored underground. The filler should prevent it from activating for the time being. I checked in on it earlier. There's nothing to be concerned about. Fortunately, it means this museum lost one of its key attractions. We talked with the director and he had us bring in these models that were scheduled for the next exhibit. Well, it doesn't really fit with the theme, but they do look pretty interesting. So I heard you two actually go way back. I didn't know the two of you were such good friends. Like hell we are, don't be daft. Just because I've known him since we were kids doesn't mean I've ever been friends with this sourpuss. When he got back from Lebanon 50 years ago, the first thing he did was make himself a huge pain in my case there. Is that what you call revolutionizing the Reinford company? It took you from your pathetic gunpowder weapons into the orbital age. You should be bowing at my feet. Instead, I've got nothing but complaints. Do you know how many times you almost went bankrupt because of your reckless spending on your projects? Until the overdrain started to go into use, our company was right on a chopping block, for crying out loud. Well then. Oh yeah, suppose both of you have Alice's father in common at least. Huh. Franz, despite his teacher being a prigged old gold, he was a good kid. Always bending over backwards to accommodate my daughter. And after Alice was born, he was a model father, not to mention his top-notch skills as an engineer. If it wasn't for the accident, he'd probably be leaving RF by now. Leading RF by now. No one knows what caused the accident, right? There was an explosion at an orbital energy plant on the outskirts of Ruhr. A joint study between RF and the Institute of Technology was being had there, and France was in charge of it. I could determine is that it was some kind of malfunction in the generator. Enough about him. Ich finde es ja schön, wie sie alle noch so im Dunkeln so stochern, was den Tod von Franz angeht, und Serena ist halt einfach weiß. Just literally knows. I bet you were a skilled manager in your day, but now you're just a doddering old man who lets his daughter walk all over him. Never could be more unpleasant to me than the accusation of being a friend to such a senile buffoon. What was that, you monocle-wearing carabble? Is that the attitude of yours that made Makarov and George run for the hills? Despite what I say, they've got a pretty good rapport going on. Anyway, I'm relieved we don't have to worry about that bell anymore. It was a good call on Professor Lukman's part to recommend you two to the RMP. What? Was that you that recommended us? Huh? Professor Lukman? He teaches geology at the academy. He was here at the museum yesterday. I was told he recommended calling the two of you. A professor at the academy? It's only a coincidence. The Empire's best. There are many people with the same surname. Yeah, that's true. What are you two talking about? Don't worry about it. We were just caught up in the past for a moment. Anyway, I expect you will be joining us for the party at the palace tonight, yes? You can talk more then. Go enjoy the summer festival for now. It's the plan. I'll see you there. It's been a while since I've visited His Majesty, but I've noticed they always call on the two of us at the same time. I'd appreciate it if they stopped treating us as though we were a pair. You stole the words right out of my mouth. Die zwei, ey. Hey, die haben schon mal was Interessantes angebracht. Guck mal. Anscheinend wissen sie irgendwas connecten sie auf jeden Fall mit den Namen. So. Dann. So, Dorothy sitzt jetzt nämlich hier. Dann gib mir bitte mal das letzten Kapitel. Aber dieses Mal hat die Bücherei nur 10 Bücher. Oh yeah, I wanted to give you something. Take it if you want. See, is that a matching bell to yours? Well, it's a spare. And even though it's tiny, it does contain some of my magical powers. If you're saying you don't want it all, I'll take it back. That's not what I'm saying at all. Thank you for such a thoughtful gift. It's nothing special. So, what does the Hexabell do? EP plus 1000. Mal gucken, wen ich das gebe. Oder es gibt eine Chest hier unten. Warte. Man kann theoretisch hier runtergehen. Hier unten soll es eine Chest geben. Haben wir die uns angeguckt? Ich glaube hier oben, ne? Nope. Hier normalerweise Magius Master Course noch drin. Deswegen, ja, zeige ich sie euch mal. Und ansonsten wäre jetzt Sidequest-Time, beziehungsweise für uns Reading-Time. Was ich noch nicht erwartet hätte, aber alright. Ja. Nehmen wir einfach den Platz hier und lesen. Headless Edgar. Wie sieht's aus? Sollte nicht allzu lange sein. Mal gucken. So, Headless Edgar, Chapter 1, The Autumn Dawn. Rays of light spilled through the curtains, brightening the walls of the bedroom before finally coming to rest on my face. I slowly opened my bleary eyes and made my way to the window. I gently touched my fingertips against the dew-covered glass, feeling the sun's warmth. I turned around to see you still lying in bed asleep. Your tranquil expression was illuminated by the same dawn light that had stirred me from my slumber. I moved in close, pressing my nose against yours, but you didn't stir. I gently stroked your hair, but you still refused to wake. In one final attempt to rouse you, I pinched your cheek, but all you did was make a face and roll over. Gently chuckling to myself, I straightened the bedsheets and left the room. I went to the kitchen and began warming up the soup left over from last night. Next I started making the salads we were going to have for lunch later. Lettuce, ham and hard-boiled eggs. I cut up a tomato, taking care to only add the slices to one of the salads. After all, you don't like tomatoes. I remember you telling me this story. I think I was about 4 years old. My father tried to feed me a tomato, and I spat it right back out at him. I have no idea why, but I just can't eat them. You laughed and looked away, a twinge of guilt playing across your eyes. Just as I was finishing up with the food, I saw the bedroom door swing open. Good morning, you said, stretching. It was clear you had enjoyed your dose. Hey, Edgar. You looked at me. Edgar? You called my name. Edgar! You called my name over and over. Hey, Edgar! You... Huh? Oh, my head snapped open. My ears were suddenly filled with sound. I was in a restaurant in town. Sitting across from me was my friend Henry. His long green hair was unkempt, as though he had just rolled out of bed. A small trail of the steam rose up towards upward from the hot plate of food he had in front of him. I instantly understood what was going on. Can I get you some water? The traitorous Clementine was standing over us. We looked up into her eyes. They were as clear as and blue as a summer sky. Oh yeah, Henry started to say. No, we're okay, don't worry about us, I interrupted. Clementine looked confused, but stepped away to see the other customers. What do you mean, don't worry about us? What if I'm thirsty? Henry furrowed his brow at me. I don't want to bother, I said, glancing in Clementine's direction for the briefest of moments. Bother? It's just a glass of water, man. Henry sighed and began sullenly chomping on his food. Here, have mine too. Pushed the blade, bearing my untouched sandwich toward him. That's all, Mother. I don't think I have much of an appetite anymore. That's been happening a lot lately. You okay, man? Henry's dour expression turned to one of concern. I'm not sure. I keep getting flashes of this one scene. It feels like a memory, but I don't recognize it at all. I raised my gaze and stole another glance at Clementine as she walked through the restaurant, smiling and talking with the customers. He followed my gaze toward her, and a look of understanding came over his face. Well, now that I think about it, this all started after you noticed her, huh? After you first noticed her, huh? Should have known. I've seen the sad eyes of a lovesick fool before. He nodded to himself knowingly. Is that what it is? I questioned Henry, that I couldn't take my eyes off Clementine. Well, I guess you know best, Henry. As I spoke, Clementine noticed my gaze and gave me a warm smile before returning to her book. So I don't seem to know myself anymore, I sighed. All my dearest friend could give in response was a troubled chuckle. September Septian Calendar 1294. Also, eine Story, die potenziell in der Zukunft spielt anscheinend. Oder es ist ein Teil, wo eine spielt in 1194, aber ja. Hey Mom, home to the headquarters of the Epstein Foundation. I had planned to devote my heart here to performing research alongside the other members of the foundation, but then I fell in love. Chapter 2, my name. When did my feelings for Clementine first start? I couldn't remember the exact day. All I knew was that for whatever reason, I couldn't stop thinking about her. Every day I'd find myself going to the restaurant. Once I got there, I'd spend my meal watching her, gazing at her flaxen braids swinging behind her as she flitted to and fro. I wondered what she thought about me. Did she like my voice? Did she think I was handsome? Did she feel the same way I did? Those thoughts would bubble up in my mind, then fade away. Hey, people don't like it when you stare at them like some kind of creeper, you know? Henry interrupted my thoughts with his usual blunt tone. We were at a restaurant just like any other day. But I'm not a creeper, I said, briefly tearing my eyes off of Clementine. A fresh look that told me he was unimpressed with my response. Look, I come here with you every day, and you just sit in a corner and stare at her. At this rate, I'm worried that when they toss you in jail for stalking, they'll throw me in there too as your accomplice. Is coming here every day all it takes for me to be a stalker? I asked. No, but that's not the issue. Wait, why am I even explaining this to you? Henry's frustration with me was clearly mounting. Because we are pals, I answered, without an exaggerated sigh, and threw his hands up in defeat. After a moment, however, he put on a serious expression and leaned in towards me. But for real, man, what are you going to do? Do you really just plan to come here day after day? Yeah, I can't really think of anything else to do, I shrugged. And he shook his head at me. Come on, that's not gonna get your feelings across to her. Then what do? I asked. I just gotta tell you how you feel. Just go over there and say it. Brace yourself for the worst and just say it. Henry told me. But I guess if you're too scared for that, the safe way should be to make her like you more first. How do I do that? Should I struggle to think of something that lovers do. Hold her in my arms or something like that? Oh, for real, man? I raised an eyebrow at me. Okay, if I were to give an example off the top of my head. Is that how you treat a paying customer? Suddenly Annie was interrupted by the sound of a drunk man yelling at someone on the other side of the restaurant. I looked over to see who he was so right up at. It was Clementine. Sorry, sir, but I'm working right now. I can't do that, she said. I could hear a hint of fear behind her professional tone. All I'm asking is for you to have a little drink with me. Come on, girlie, let's have some fun. The man started his words, clearly deep in his cups. Something like that, actually. Henry nodded at the scene playing out before us. If you swoop in to save the day when she's in trouble like that, I'm sure she will think better of you. Oh, oops. Though, you should probably stay out of this one, to be honest. I leaned back in his chair and pulled out his comm ointment. This might be a bit more than you can handle, so we'd better leave it to the bros. Okay, got it. I stood up and began walking towards Clementine. Hey, wait! Heard Henry exclaim as I left, but I ignored him and kept going. Huh, where are you supposed to be? Me and the lady are talking. You can have return later. I could smell the alcohol on his breath from an acre away. I'm here to talk to you, actually. That is demands unfocused gaze froze on me. I'd rather not bother the other customers in here, so why don't we talk outside? I continued. I've got nothing to talk to you about. I'll go outside, go on your own. Like I said, I'm talking to the lady here. My face grew redder. She clearly doesn't want to talk to you, so let's go outside already, I retorted. The man's expression was quickly twisted into an enraged scowl as he shot out of his seat, knocking over everything on his table with a loud clatter. It turned out he was much bigger than me. Don't try to act big, you little shit, or you're gonna get hurt. Please go back to your seat, I can handle this, Clementine said as she put herself between the man and me. But he was shaking. For right in front of me, I was able to see clearly. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she pursed her lips tightly and gave me a determined look. I'm moving on the spot until you go back, her voice cracked so slightly. Oh yeah, guess I'll have to move you then. The man shoved Clementine aside and grabbed at my collar. At the same time, he swung his fist at my face. While he was about to make impact, however, I heard a commotion from behind him. That's enough! So sets of hands grabbed him, stopping his punch mid-swing and holding him in place. I got a report of a disturbance. What were you? Stand down. One look at their shining badges was all I needed to figure out what was going on. You're from the Bracer Guild. You're coming back with us to our guild branch, where we are all gonna have a nice chat, said one of the Bracers. Bracers? Hold on a sec, you're on fighting. The man quickly let go of me. You're just having a bit of fun, right, kid? Well, I sure wasn't having any fun. It was not an honest answer on my part, but the man didn't seem to appreciate it much. His face turned red again and contorted with anger. The hell? You shut your damn mouth, you little punk! Before the man could do anything, however, the bracers had him pinned on the floor. That's enough. Come along quietly. The bracers subdued him and began leading him out of the restaurant. Despite his anger only a moment ago, the man began sobbing. Oh, please don't call my mama, okay? I'm begging you. What? Watched him walk out the door. Just as I was about to turn and check a Clementine, one of the bracers put his hands on my shoulder. He was a velvet man, and it was clear from his expressions he took his job seriously. But later learned his name was Boris. Guys are lifesavers. I turned to him and said, thanks for taking care of him. You have to bring you in too, you know, Boris said as he tightened his grip on my shoulder. After all, both parties are to blame when a fight breaks out. Didn't they teach you better in school? Both parties, huh? Said absent-mindedly. Everything that had gone on the past few minutes had overwhelmed my mind a bit. As I was lost in my days, Boris let me out of the restaurant with the other bracers. After Edgar left the restaurant with the bracers, Clementine just stood there, shocked. Hey, sorry about the commotion my pal caused, said a soft voice from behind her. Sometimes he gets too stubborn, not even I can stop him. He just runs off and does whatever he feels like. It can be kind of a pain. It was Henry. He had a chuckle at the results of Edgar's clumsy attempt at heroism. Clementine simply stared at the door Edgar had been escorted through moments ago, however. Noticing this, Henry's laughing tempered off awkwardly. Are you okay? Who is he? She asked. Huh? Your friend? What's his name? Clementine continued to gaze at the doorway as she asked. Alright, he stammered slightly, flustered by the unexpected question. It's Edgar. Edgar, Clementine murmured to herself. I didn't get to thank him. Watching Clementine lost in her thoughts, Henry could only manage a wry grin. Wollen wir mal ein bisschen was trinken? Wenn meine Stimme nicht komplett abkribbelt. Chapter 3, The Sitting Sun. The bracer's questioning went by quickly, and they released me once I was able to explain the situation. The other man was released as well, though not before a stern lecture. Sure, you're a pain, you know that. Apparently, the next day, he was already annoyed with me. I told you to wait, didn't I? He said, the crease in his forehead growing. What would you have done if you got hurt butting in like that? What even possessed you to jump in anyway? Henry didn't lay into me like this until the bracer's questioning. Until much later in the day. Clementine was in trouble. You told me if I helped her, she would like me, right? I responded. A flash of anger spread across Henry's face. This was his usual reaction when my matter-of-fact response got under his skin. Sure enough, it was quickly replaced with his usual look of exhausted resignation. After she left, she asked for your name, and I told her. Oh, thanks. When I response to Henry, my mind started racing. I've gone from just another customer to the crazy guy who almost got beaten up, he said with a half smirk. She was disappointed she didn't get a chance to thank you. Really? My head started swimming at the ears. When I stepped into that argument, I could see she was shaking, I said, thinking back. Of course she was, Henry said. Anyone would have been scared in a situation like that. She must have a pretty strong will to have kept her cool like she did. Yeah, I said. I think she's a strong woman. If something like that happens again, I want to be there to help her. Oh yeah? Henry shot me a sardonic look. I'm not gonna save your ass next time. Huh? My head suddenly started swimming and the gears in my brain started turning at full speed. Oh, you're the one who called the praises, I said, thinking back to the night before. I had seen him taking out his comm opener before I got up. Yep. I'm just glad I got there before someone got his face caved in. He grinned. You're a real pain in the ass, Henry, but you're a good guy at heart. I smiled back at him. Alright? He started to laugh before realizing what precisely I had said. Hey, just a sec. Who is the pain in the ass here? Sehr schön. I went to the restaurant that afternoon. Clementine noticed me and hurried over. This way, I'll show you to your seat, she said with a smile. I followed her to a corner of the restaurant. A table had been set up away from the other customers. I was a little worried he wouldn't come back after what happened yesterday, she said sheepishly. But don't worry, something like that isn't enough to scare me off, I laughed. But what about you? How are you doing? I feel terrible, she said. Maybe you had things better. You hadn't been dragged off by the braces. But it wasn't your fault. I just jumped in because I felt like it. I said, having out my chest. Just a teeniest bit. But she started. Besides, it's on the way to protect me too, right? Smiled at her. We helped each other out. She smiled back, blushing ever so slightly. Even so, I still want to show my gratitude. Today your meal's on the house, so get whatever you like. The same goes for your friend. Clementine quickly looked around, realizing Henry wasn't with me. Oh, he couldn't make it today, I said. So I guess I'll just have to eat his meal too. Both of us burst into laughter. By the time I left the restaurant, the sun was setting. Thanks again for the meal, I said. I really enjoyed myself. Clementine walked me to the entrance. Glad to hear it. To be honest, I was worried you might have been bored. You had this dreamy sort of look on your face. What? No, there's no way I could have been bored. After all, I stumbled over my words and trailed off. Clementine stared at me, confused by my babbling. I mean, the weather's so nice today. Yeah, that's it. I stumbled out of the first thing that popped into my mind. But it just confused her further. Well, what does it have to do with anything? She asked. I guess it doesn't. I broke down into a nervous laughter, but Clementine just giggled along with me. You're so funny, Edgar. I hope you come back soon. I'll be waiting for you, she said. Oh, you'll be waiting too. Anything you need, just let me know. You can count on me whenever, I told her. Huh? She still seemed a little confused, but she smiled at me. Right, I'll just do that. I'm serious, I said. I want to be there for you anytime you need me. She let out a little gasp. They were a little roundabout, but my words had gotten through to her. If you excuse me then, I gave her one more smile before I headed out. I began walking home, but after a moment I heard someone calling my name from behind. I turned around to see you there, waving at me. Your bright smile shone all the more brilliantly as the golden light of the setting sun washed over you. Chapter 4, Where the Fireflies Are. I wound my way through the local canyon. Das ist, by the way, das, wo der Bracer Headquarter war. The local canyon. Das ist immer mit Estelle und so gewesen. Mit Estelle und, mir fällt der Name gerade nicht ein. Annabelle. I wound my way through the local canyon, several acres outside town. The cliffs towered above me, stretching up to the sky. That was the reason why, despite being mid-morning, it felt so dark down in the canyon. I felt as though I was shut away from the rest of the world. The great white sky was compressed to a thin strip of azure zigzagging overhead. As I looked up, I saw two birds fly by, far above me. Seeing them, I thought back to my conversation with her the day before. Haven't you heard of firefly fungus? Clementine asked as she brought us our dinner. Seen them once or twice. Never eaten one, though. Harry said between mouthfuls of food. There's a kind of fungus that looks like fireflies, or like fungus that grows on fireflies? I asked. Harry, in the middle of a big gulp of water, did a spit take, spraying watery bits of his dinner here and there. What kind of question is that? Coughed up more of his drink. You think there are fireflies with a bunch of fungus growing all over them? That would be gross, man. I actually thought there were fireflies like that, but I kept it to myself. Maybe I've been thinking of making a new dish with some more exotic ingredients like firefly fungus. Clementine explained as she cleaned up Henrys mess. Ich glaube, Firefly Fungus sind sogar Ingredients für Recipes, die wir damals sogar einsammeln konnten. Yeah, maybe to wake up something. Would you like to try it? Of course, I responded instantly. He said at me and found it. You signed up for that real quick. For all you know, their mushrooms could be straight up nasty. Hearing that, Clementine frowned angrily. That was actually pretty weird to see you like that. They won't be after I'm done with them. I promise I'll make something extra delicious. But you can't even get them in this town, right? Said Henry. I'm sure someone's selling them somewhere, but are you really gonna make a cross-state trek every time you run low on ingredients? Oh, Clementine said, looking a bit dejected. I still haven't figured that part out. She excused herself and hurried back into the kitchen. That wasn't very nice, Henry, said, glaring at him. Can we really not find any around here? Who knows? He shrugged. There's a forest past the canyon, so it's possible. As he shot out of my seat and turned to leave, but Henry's reflexes were too fast to grab my arm, stopping me. You can go once it's light out, he said with a sigh. Taking his advice, I set out for the local canyon first thing next morning. As I walked, the steep canyon walls slowly parted, and before long I found myself standing in front of a rural forest. Wahrscheinlich den weit dem auch durchgerannt sind. Henry told me to look in especially shadowy parts of the forest or around rotting trees. I made my way through the forest, picking anything even vaguely mushroom-shaped. It didn't take long before the bag I brought with me had grown heavy with a cornucopia of different mushrooms. I figured if I couldn't find a firefly fungus for Clementine, I would at least give her a variety of other mushrooms to choose from. As I continued my search through the forest, I came across a clearing and was struck by how beautiful and tranquil it was. The stream quietly wound its way through the trees. The rays of sunlight filtered through the treetops, shone down, coloring on the surface of water. A number of squirrels and small birds were perched on the trees above me, twittering and chirping merrily. It was a stream straight out of a painting, more beautiful than anything I'd seen in my days working at the foundation. It's rare to see anyone all the way out here. I heard the sound of rustling leaves and turned to see an old man step out of a thicket. Turning alone, young man? He asked me, trying to outrun a spot of heartbreak, Gary. Or maybe you're looking for something. I stared at a woman beneath his head of short white hair. I spotted a few long green strands poking out here and there. He averted his eyes and nervously cleared his throat. Well, as for me, I'm here to pick mushrooms, he said. It seems like someone got to all of them first, though. I continued to glare wordlessly at the old man. Beats of sweat began to form on his forehead. He glared for it again. Oh, what's that? What you got in your bag there? Yes. Could it be mushrooms, perhaps? So you're trying to strike a bargain? Frank spoke. Yes, exactly, he exclaimed. I like a youngster who understands. So about that firefly... I mean, what is he looking for way out here? Woher weiß er, dass er nach einem Firefly-Fungus gucken? Firefly-Fungus? Curly responded. Let me guess. Der Handy hat uns irgendwie einen Bracer nachgeschickt oder so. Well, he said proudly, I just so happen to have one right here. He had out a mushroom with a faint green glow to it. I went to some trouble finding this, but you should be sure to use it well, he said. Sure, thanks. I said, taking the mushroom from his hand and turning to leave. Wait just a minute, I called out. As I walked away, the old man quickly grabbed my arm, stopping me. It was a familiar feeling, and a much stronger grip than an actual old man would have. Henry, alright. It's not what I agreed on. You need to give me that bag in exchange, he said. We didn't agree to anything, I told him. You just gave this to me. What? That's not fair, he stammered. You think you can treat an old man like that? You're pretty strong for an old man. I gave him an unimpressed look, the same kind he had given me at least once nearly every day. Henry blanched at my words, and the white wig he was wearing fell slightly askew on his head. Look, just let me have these mushrooms. You're going to get to try dishes too, I told him. Shut up, man. I just want my share of helping you, he snapped at me. He started grabbing at the firefly fungus in an attempt to take it back. We began bickering like a pair of children. Give it back! No, let go. Not to you, give it back. Unfortunately, we didn't use how our fight would end until it was too late. In one final attempt to rip the mushroom out of each other's hands, we each let out a yell and pulled as hard as we could. It took us a moment afterwards to regain our senses, and to our honor, we saw that the mushroom had been torn in two. An awkward silence fell over us as we stared at the pieces in our hands. We picked ourselves up and silently headed back to town. As we left the forest and headed back into the canyon, the sun was beginning to hang low in the sky. You know, Sonny, this trip is a bit rough on this old man's knees, Henry piped up. I wouldn't mind if you carried me back to town. You're pretty spry. I think you can make it on your own, I told him curtly. Harry sighed and abandoned his old man facade, picking up his pace. We returned to our silence, each of us absorbed in a complicated anger. However, it wasn't long until the voice snapped us back to reality. You there, halt! What's that you have? I turned to look at whomever it was which spoke to us, only to be greeted by a familiar face. What were you up to today? You both have leaves in your hair? Clementine asked as she brought us our dinner later that evening. I pulled a vibrant green leaf out from behind my ear. I hadn't noticed it there at all. It had been an exhausting day. Remember how we were talking about firefly mushroom yesterday? Clementine said. I actually decided not to use them after all. I was trying to think about what I could make with them, but I couldn't come up with anything good. She gave a sheepish smile. I guess everything turned out fine in the end, he said with a small, tired grin. Yeah, I guess so, well, an exhausted Henry. Huh? Clementine turned her head in confusion at us. Henry and I spent the rest of the night burying our sorrows in food. That evening, it was a brazier, Boris, who had called out to us in the canyon. The same Boris who led me away after the fight in the restaurant. Henry and I were so preoccupied that we crossed the border between the sightseeing area and the brazier training facility without realizing it. He gave us a lecture, and, of course, all the mushrooms I picked were confiscated. Damn, Boris, why? Chapter 5, Real Trust. Hey, those jerks don't have another training facility around there, do they? And he asked, if you keep talking like that, they won't help you next time you're in trouble. I responded, keeping my eyes on the border. And who cares? Henry laughed. They're just a bunch of stubborn hardasses who stomp all over people's hard work. He began fidgeting as he righted himself up to thinking about the other day. Doesn't it tick you off too? He turned to me. You picked all those mushrooms and they just took them away. Well, we broke the rules, I shrugged. And how can you be so nonchalant about it? He sighed. He didn't even have the energy to be annoyed at me today. I'm getting nothing here. He gave his line a sad tug. I can't focus anymore. Don't you ever get hungry? He asked, looking out at my own line. It hadn't moved the whole time he'd been out here. Are you even doing this right? Henry asked. It was a good question, one I didn't have the answer to. A small breeze gently nudged our otherwise immobile fishing lines. Okay, he said, getting up. I'm gonna go find someone who can help us. He left his fishing pole and started walking further up the riverbank. We are back in the local canyon. After our disastrous mushroom hunting mission, we had pulled ourselves together and decided to go fishing in an attempt to catch something good for Clementine. After a while, Henry returned with comedy. For things like this, it's best to get help from a bro, he explained, so I found us one. From his head and jacket to his rod and the tackle box slung over his shoulder, the man Henry brought back with him was the very picture of an expert angler. I found him fishing just a bit upstream, Henry told me. He said he's from the Fisherman's Guild. Can't get much more of an expert opinion than that. The fisherman smiled. Oh, I'm always happy to help all young anglers like yourself, he said. We exchanged greetings, then it was time to get down to business. So what exactly are you two after today? The fisherman asked. I wrote a fish, I told him. I wanted to give it to someone. It's a little vague, he scratched his chin. But I'm definitely on board with giving a fish as a gift. If you're after something rare though, you will need the right bait. The fisherman picked up our fishing poles and examined them. Rockers rods, huh? He furrowed his brow a little. That's all you're able to run in town, sir, I told him. How are you gonna caught him, sir? Henry whispered to me. What bait are you using? The fisherman asked. Worms, I replied. The fisherman raised an eyebrow and shok his head at us. Are you sure you're trying to catch a big one? He asked. Before we get some bites, we came around lunchtime, I told him, matter-of-factly. When the fisherman heard this, his other eyebrow quickly shot up to join the first one. He then gave an incredulous sigh and pulled his spare rod out of his pack. Here he says it's a metal rod trident. It's specifically made for catching big fish, he said, handing me the fishing rod. Use live medium-sized fish as bait. What about me? Asked Henry. What do I do? You'll be catching the bait fish, the fisherman told him. You can use worms for that one, but you need to go to another spot to catch it. He seemed to be a bit disappointed. He got a less important job, but he did as he was told and moved a bit downstream. You should get a bite from the little ones over there in our time, the fisherman called out. Sure enough, after a minute or two, I heard Henry struggling, cutting something. The fisherman and I walked over to watch. He put everything he had into pulling his catch up until finally, with a mighty pull, he yanked it straight out of the river. Droplets of water flew into the air, sparkling in the sun like diamonds. His better one, he hoisted his prize up to get a better look at it. A boot? And your face puffed up with indignation. Henry tossed the boot to the ground and sighed for a few minutes before he cast another line. Eventually he caught some smaller fish, and I prepared them as bait for the metal rod trident. I cast my new line and waited. 10 minutes later, I felt a sharp tug on the line. My rod started to bend. A shadow appeared in the water, and the surface of the river began to thrash. I waited until the line stopped moving, then tugged with all my strength. A huge fish flew up from the river, attracted to the shore, and held it up for everyone to see. The fisherman, impressed by its size, let out a whistle. The long whiskers and pointed teeth, he murmured to himself as he took a good look at the fish. It's definitely a garvels. Is it rask? It's rare to catch one here, he said. Alles Sachen, die wir schon mal getan haben. Die hatten selber mal die Rods, wir hatten selber mal den Bait genutzt, wir haben selber mal den Garvels gefangen. He said, still examining the fish. They're known as lake bottom brawlers, and true to the name, are usually found in muddy areas at the bottom of lakes. I was elated to have caught such a rare fish, but the fisherman's expression was more serious. Something wrong? I asked. I'd like to make a request. The fisherman strained his posture. Would you let me have the garvels? I looked at each other in shock. Hey, you know anything about charging us? He glared at the fisherman. Don't answer them, please, the fisherman said. I'm not trying to scam you or anything of the sort. I want to bring this fish back with me to the fisherman's good. Trying to add someone else's cash to your collection? His brow was still furrowed. It's pretty lame, wouldn't you say? Well, I agree, that's not the reason I want it all. The fisherman, still bearing the same serious expression on his face. I'm interested in the ecosystem here. I'd like to find out why a lake-dwelling fish is all the way out here. Also, you continued, this fish has a bit of a reputation as a man-eater. What? He jumped a good acre away from the fish as it flopped on the end of my line. It's only an urban legend, said the fisherman. They will cough up drinkers from time to time. If it happens to have eaten anything valuable, I'll let you have it. Oh, does that sound for payment? Mysteriously trying to bribe us with some dead person's jewelry? Henry exclaimed from behind a nearby tree. No, please listen. The fisherman remained calm. The man-eating part isn't true. The fish will just swallow shiny objects that fall to the bottom of the lake. Yeah, I like this story. Henry still regarded the fisherman with fisherman's suspicious glance. He then turned to me. Should we do? I had no reason to trust this random fisherman, but he didn't seem like the kind of person who would lie to us. Alright, I said, you can have it. Thank you, I'm adept. He took off his hat and gave me a short bow. I'll be able to find you to deliver your payment. You're looking at a restaurant in town, I told him. How's it? I'll be back in a few days. The fisherman said as he began to pack up his supplies. I need to transport this fish quickly, so I'll be headed out now. I took another look at the fish. Will this fish die from the research you're going to do? Asked the fisherman simply, laughing at my worried expression. Oh no, he said. I see to it he's well taken care of. Wave to us one last time before heading off the fishing town. You think it's a good idea to trust that guy? And he asked us who you watched. The fisherman leave. You know there's a chance you'll never see him again, right? I bet the fish is happy it went to someone like him, I said, mostly to myself. What are you talking about, man? Henry, raising an eyebrow at me. You're right, and he never comes back. Shrugged, then that's just how it is. We just have to go fishing again. Just like that, he sighed. I really trying to sound nonchalant about it, Ira. Do you know why I like Clementine so much, Henry? I asked. Huh? Henry seemed taken aback by the question. I have no idea why myself, I admitted. That's just how it is. But we started picking up and heading home. And he was silent for the entire trip back. Chapter 6. Things I Want to Protect. Memories are strange things. I heard you speaking to me from far away. We have memories, both good and bad, and then without realizing it, we forget them. I said nothing. But it seems like the angry, sad, and bitter memories are the ones that stick around the longest. I remain silent. If that's true, then I want you to be my side for every clumsy mistake and awful day I have, because I want to remember every moment I spent with you. Edgar? The voice struck my mind like rivets on a still lake, and my consciousness slowly returned to me. I was walking through the canyon. Clementine was at my side. We had just finished delivering food to the Braces training facility, and we're on our way back to town. Oh, sorry, I was just lost in thought, I said, rubbing my temples. Clementine put her hand to my forehead to check my temperature. Well, it seems like you don't have a fever or anything, but if you're not feeling well, you should rest. She grinned at me and continued walking ahead. Watching her, I wished this moment when I went. Why did you ask me to come with you that day? The vision I had of you speaking to me, was it real or just a wishful daydream? Edgar, what's your favorite food? Clementine turned to look at me as we reached the highway. I thought about it. Anything you make for me? That's such an Edgar answer, she giggled. Okay, then I'll make you something once we get back. Oh, really? That sounds great, I said. I'm looking forward to it. Is there anything you don't like? She asked. Not really. Sad thing, you know. I would eat pretty much anything. It must be nice, she said, smiling. Do you like tomatoes too, then? Yep, tomatoes too, I noticed. You had brought back a faint memory, like a ticker at the back of my mind. I just can't stand it myself, she said, shaking her head. After all, you don't like tomatoes. When I was little, my father tried to feed me a tomato, she told me. Spat it out. And I just spat it right back out at him. It seems suddenly bubbled up in my mind again. Edgar? I have no idea why, but you just can't eat them, right? I asked. What? She let a small guess. Yeah, that's right, but how do you know? Just a guess, said, looking away. I remember the scene I saw back in the restaurant. Her words just now were the same as back then. I think I understand now, I went to myself. It had been installed into my mind. Understand what? What are you talking about, Edgar? She asked, concern creeping across her face. She grabbed my arm and looked up at me. Before I could say anything, several figures rushed at us from the grass off the side to the highway. Monsters! Clementine yelled. 3 feline monsters stood before us, blocking the road into the town and hissing angrily. Edgar! Clementine whispered my name. She was trembling. I calmly moved her behind me. If you're on the highway, that means the nearby open lights must be broken. What do we do? She clutched my arm tighter. We can't get into town, so let's get back the way we came, I said. Clementine looked like she was about to cry. I grasped her hand and held it right. The Braces will be able to help, I told her. We need to go back there, okay? She nodded. We all returned and started running as fast as we could. We ran for what felt like forever. I was track of how far we had gone. Clementine was running out of breath. The sun was nearly done setting, and what little light remained in the dusky sky couldn't reach down into the canyon. We stopped for a moment, and Clementine steadied herself against the canyon wall to catch her breath. I'm sorry, I'm slowing you down, she guessed. Oh no, I'm the one who should apologize, I said. I thought you would have found the Braces by now. At that point, I didn't even know which direction the training facility was anymore. Panic from the constant sound of pursuing footsteps had muddled my sense of direction. Just rest for a moment, I can. Clementine's thought was interrupted by the sight of one of the monsters leaping at her. She screamed. I grabbed a nearby branch and swung at it as hard as I could. I knocked it out of the air right before it reached her. However, while I was preoccupied with the first one, 2 more circled around behind us. I felt several sharp claws stick into me. One of the monsters was on my back and the other one on my leg. I turned and swung the branch again, knocking them away. They leapt at me once more, however going after my head and shoulder next. The world became a blur. I swung the branch, hitting one directly in the head. It flew off a short ways and stopped moving. Clementine stood to the side, watching in fear, hands pressed tightly over her mouth. One of the monsters started to approach her, and I kicked it away. By that, however, the one behind me leapt at the back of my head, tearing into me. Everything grew dim. I fell to my knees. My ears were filled with the monster's piercing screech, mixed with the sound of Clementine desperately calling my name. The last thing I heard before the world went dark was the sounds of boots and loud, commanding voices. Chapter 7. No blood to shed. All I could do was call his name as I watched him fall to his knees. He glanced at me, his eyes telling me to run away before I slumped to the ground. I ran to his side, but before I could check on him, I noticed the two remaining monsters slinking towards us. The branch he had dropped was much too heavy for me to use. Oh, wir haben POE geswitcht. Merke ich gerade. It's Clementine's POE. I started screaming as loud as I could, begging for anyone to come save us. After a moment, I heard heavy footsteps running towards us and the voice called, "Over here!" A group of braces went up, easily taking care of the monsters that terrorized us. "So it took us so long. Are you injured?" asked a female bracer. I shook my head at her, but then turned to look at Edgar laying on the ground. The other bracers crowded around to check on him. "This guy... what is this? Do we take him to a hospital or gonna hear bits of their whispered conversation?" "We'll take the man back first," one of the bracers told me as they started to move Edgar. "Is he going to be okay?" I asked. "I can't say," the bracer said, looking away. They carried Edgar away before I could even get a glimpse of him. The rest of the bracers stayed behind to escort me out of the canyon. "He was sorry he had to go through that. He'll get us all a nice fix as soon as possible," the female bracer said. She told me her name was Bella. When we finally got back to the restaurant, Bella looked at me with a solemn expression on her face. "I'd like to apologize again for not getting there sooner." She lowered her gaze. "But the young man protected you, didn't he?" "I was the strong person," I said, forcing a sad smile. After what felt like a long silence, one of the other bracers spoke up. "His name was Edgar," he said. "I thought he looked familiar. He was that guy with the bag full of mushrooms." The bracer introduced himself to me as Boris. I was trying to bring a ton of mushrooms back with him, but he picked them from a restricted area, so we had confiscated them all. "Yeah," but I said. "He was really reluctant to give up that firefly fungus. He said someone important to him wanted it." "That reminded me," said Boris. "The first time when we broke up that fight here at this restaurant, huh? He told us he was trying to protect someone. I wonder if he was talking about the same person," but I mused. She turned to look at me. "Oh, are you okay?" Tears were streaming down my face. "Oh," she said, realizing what was going on. She hugged me. "We do whatever we can to make sure he recovers." Even so, I couldn't stop my tears from flowing. The next morning, I took the day off and headed to the hospital. I gave them Edgar's name at the front desk and asked for his room number. To my surprise, they told me they couldn't find him. I asked them to check again, and they eventually found a nurse who was there the day before. She told me Edgar was brought in, but was quickly moved to another location. So it's right there. In no time, I was standing before the Epstein Foundation's Intellectual Development Research Center. This didn't seem like the kind of place anyone would take an injured person to be treated. So why was Edgar brought here? I steeled my courage and walked into the building. Inside were a number of people wearing white lab coats and exchanging information on clipboards. I was completely out of my element, but kept going anyway. I spotted a reception desk and approached the woman sitting there. I was told a man named Edgar was brought here, I said. The receptionist looked at me as though I'd grown a second head. They told me the hospital that an injured man named Edgar was brought here last night. I repeated a little more firmly. "Which room is he in?" "I haven't heard of anyone like that being brought here." She threw a brow at me. "If you can't tell me where he is, can you at least let me know if he is here or not?" I told her. "I'll write you as long as I need to." "I'm sorry, miss, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave," she said, carrying at me. "Like I said, I'm going to wait right here until you tell me where he is," I repeated, raising my voice a little. My outburst caused some of the others in the lobby to stop and turn their heads. Suddenly I heard a voice from behind me. "You're right, he's here." "Of course I am right, I turned out and let out a short gasp. The voice belonged to Henry. He was wearing a wrinkled lab coat and his long, scraggly hair was tied back in a ponytail. "I'm glad to see you," I breathed a sigh of relief. "I take care of things from here," he said to the still irritated receptionist. He led me further back into the building. "Have you seen Edgar?" I asked, unable to hold back my anxiousness. "Yeah," he replied. But seeing him's about all you can do at the moment." We stopped in front of a large sturdy door. Henry swiped a keycard on a reader and the door slowly opened. Inside was a long, dark hallway. At the end of the hallway was a small room surrounded by thick glass walls. As we approached, I saw him, lying on a white slab inside a glass room. "Edgar!" I called out. Two mechanical arms suspended from the ceiling circled his body, shooting out small bursts of sparks here and there. "What's going on, Henry?" I guess I watched in horror. They are fixing him, he responded, as though it was the most natural thing in the world. His brain was especially damaged. So you replaced his body with machinery? Yes, struggling to understand the situation. Henry didn't respond. He stood there and calmly watched the arms circle around Edgar. This is just too much, I said. What is machines? I put my hand on the glass between Edgar and me. You got hurt protecting me, I said, so if you can use my body to help him somehow, or I don't know what I should do. Just please. So I shook up. Please bring him back to normal. I promised him I would cook something for him, so please. You don't have to worry about that. The voice was so cold and clinical, it took me a moment to realize it was Henry speaking. He hadn't taken his eyes off Edgar the whole time. I don't think he wasn't afraid of fighting that big drunk, he asked me. How could he keep running that whole time without getting tired? Why didn't he bleed a single drop of blood after those monsters clawed him? Did I think it was strange? I looked at Edgar as he lay on the slab. His tranquil expression was illuminated by the sterile white light shining down from above. We didn't replace his body with machinery, Henry said quietly. He was like this from the start. He sheds no tears, no blood runs through his body, and no heart beats in his chest. But he's not a normal machine. He is an artificial intelligence wearing human skin. Yes, we have AI! This is an AI story. Also anscheinend. Oh, mein Hals fängt schon langsam an zu kratzen. Chapter 8. Don't let go. I don't understand, I stammered. What are you talking about? My head spun as I struggled to comprehend the reality of the situation. Henry turned to look at me and began explaining. Artificial intelligence, a machine that works like a human brain. It's far more advanced than a simple automated contraption. So I sigh on later days. The Epstein Foundation has made a lot of advancements in this area recently, he continued. Right now we are focusing on situation assessment and language skills. I couldn't find any words to respond to him. The body has a device that functions like a stomach, so you can even eat too. He didn't get any nourishment from it exactly, Henry said, shrugging. But it was important for him to at least act like a human. You're wrong, it squeezed the words out of my throat. Huh? He's not a machine, I said. Henry's expressions didn't change. How could someone so kind be a machine? I continued. He liked talking with us and sharing meals, and he said he wanted to be there for me. I could tell he really meant it. He's so much like a real person. Precisely, Henry said calmly. He is like a real person. What? No, that's not what I mean, I protested. One of our goals in building him was to create a machine that would be as close to human as possible, Henry explained. The experiment was to discover whether or not an artificial intelligence could experience emotion. I could feel my pulse quicken and my breath catch in my throat. What does that mean then, I guess? Edgar's thoughts, his feelings, telling me everything about him was just installed into his mind. That's right, he said, with the same cold tone. It was for the sake of our research and for the further development of this technology. You were randomly chosen to serve as a subject. It was all nothing more than an experiment. No. Started to feel dizzy. Does Edgar know? He asked, steadying myself against the wall. He knows what he is, he explained as he gazed at Edgar, but he wasn't told he was part of this experiment. Nor was he aware, then he turned to me, of the reason he liked you so much. How could you, he asked, my anger starting to build. How could you know all that and just sit by and watch him? He remained silent and turned his gaze back to Edgar. His best friend, aren't you? I continued. You two did everything together. How could you betray him like this? You still don't get it. Henry's words were sharp and cold. Between humans and machines, friendship, let alone love, is impossible. The experiment needed an observer. Our friendship was nothing more than a scenario to facilitate it. Oh, this was played the role I was given, Henry sighed. He suddenly looked exhausted. Do you understand now? He asked. Edgar is an intricate, constructed machine made to mimic a human. There were so many things I wanted to say, but I couldn't manage to force any words out. The gentle face of his kind voice, the feeling of his hand gripped mine as we ran. Didn't all those things come from Edgar himself? Were they really all engineered in a lab? I had to accept reality. The more I thought about it, the more my mind resisted the thought. I regained my composure and faced Henry. He looked at me with cold eyes, but behind the clinical icy stare, I felt like I could sense something else. Sadness, maybe. Are you really okay with this? I finally spoke. Can you just pretend all days you spent with Edgar never really happened? None of them were real to begin with, he replied. Can you forget everything he said to you? I asked. The look on his face as you two talked with each other, every meal you shared with him. Harry didn't respond. He suddenly turned back towards Edgar. As he gazed through the glass at his friend's profile, the sadness in his eyes returns. After a few moments he spoke. Edgar was always honest and loyal, he said, quietly. He cared about us, and he brought people together. As I realized that, there was no doubt in my mind he had become human. Harry slowly closed his eyes and gently touched his fingertips against the cold glass. If there was one thing we didn't expect to happen, instead of the glass, one of the mechanic arms stopped moving. It was for his personality to develop to such a degree. At some point he began to feel like a human himself. The other mechanic arm stopped and the room fell silent. I was running through a thick fog. Someone was holding my hand, pulling me forward. Was I in the forest? Yes, it must have been a case. It was Clementine. Had the braces come for us? Did you make it back to the town safely? I had to hurry. No, not that way. Wait. Who are you? Where are you going? What are you going to do with me? Then I woke up. Chapter 9. A Sleepless Dream. I awoke to find myself laying on a workbench. Hey, you're finally awake, I heard someone say. I turned my head to see Henry enter the room. I tried to sit up, but my movements were sluggish. That's weird, I said. I'm having difficulty moving. You did just come out of major surgery, he said. The back of your head was injured pretty bad. I reached back and touched the spot above the nape of my neck. I felt the sutures there. That was where the core of me was, the part that made me Edgar. What about Clementine? I asked. Is she okay? Just a few scratches, Henry told me. She's fine. Good. I breathed a sigh of relief. So the brace is made in time. Henry nodded with the soft smirk. I want to see her, I told him. Is it safe for me to move? I didn't wait for a response, however. By the time the words had left my mouth, I had already gotten down off the workbench and began walking toward the door. I told her, he said quietly, about you. The words stopped me in my tracks. She came here to see you after she couldn't find you at the hospital, she said. She was really letting the receptionist have it. And? I asked. I took her to see you while you were being repaired, he said, eroding his gaze. She said she understood and then left. Told me she knew there was something off about you. Started laughing. What? Said Henry, taken aback by my reaction. You're a terrible liar, Henry, said. We both know she would never say something like that. He looked to the floor and let out a little sigh. Sure she was shocked though, I continued. I imagine it would be a lot to take in. I sat back down on the workbench. You're pretty calm about all this, Henry said. One of the benefits of being a machine, I guess. As he said this, I saw a hint of pain and sadness in his eyes. He didn't take me back to the dorm after I was fixed, I asked. He tried to stop me from seeing Clementine. Am I acting so strangely right now? I can't understand. I put my fingers through my indigo hair and then down to my neck, covered in lifelike yet synthetic skin. My hand came to rest on the sutures. After all, I'm just an artificial intelligence. He felt silent. Maybe there's something while I was walking with Clementine. I told him. Information about her was installed into my mind. The kind of food she doesn't like, stories about her childhood, even images of her smiling face. It was just random information to get me to focus on her, continued. Or at least that's all it was supposed to be. I guess something unexpected happened. And he continued to stand there silently, listening to me. Those times where my head felt muddled and had strange visions. I went on. Those were my own hopes getting mixed in, weren't they? My own desires, wanting to talk to her, wanting to be with her. Henry didn't say anything, but I could still see the sadness in his eyes. Has any of that changed what's going to happen now? I asked. You're pretty chatty after your surgery, huh? He said, quickly putting on a tired smile. The experiment you were a part of is over now, he said as he walked toward me. This stage of it, anyway. The results show some danger. He stopped right in front of me and looked at me in the eyes. They've decided up top that in an eye that the word of self-consciousness is too difficult to manage, I said. Your four data is going to be removed and analyzed. Then we'll be giving it a new personality and appearance. After that, the experiment will continue. What about you, Henry? I asked. Is that what you want? It is. He said, averting his gaze again. You're nothing but trouble. I signed up for this experiment to advance my career. Why else would I babysit some artificial intelligence? Now that the experiment's over, my job's done here. So I'm too difficult to manage? Is that what you think, Henry? Yeah, I said. You almost got your face punched trying to fight some drunk. You made me chase after you on some hunt for mushrooms you weren't even sure existed. Then you tracked me out to catch some rare fish and ended up giving it away. I fed it up to here with you. His wife wavered and his face scrunched up, as though he was trying to hold something back. Understand, I said. I'll do what you tell me to do, Henry. Well, he started. I'm not going along with what the Foundation wants, I told him. I'm just taking my friend's advice. What about Clementine, he asked. I shouldn't see her, I said. It's for the best. Why, all of a sudden? He stammered. There's a calm, scientific demeanor you had a moment ago. I gave him a small smile. Should hurry up before I change my mind. He closed his eyes and his face scrunched up again. No matter what happens to me, I'll still think of you as my friend. That's all, I said as I lay back down on the workbench. Edgar. His voice wavered. It feels like it's been a while since I've heard you say my name, I said. I turned away and began preparing the equipment. I could hear the machinery begin to hum around me. I felt my body getting lighter, threatening to float away. My eyes were open, but I couldn't see anything. It felt like I was the only one there. Suddenly I felt a pen and paper put in my hands. He must have brought them to me to write a letter. I had no idea where to start though. There's so much I wanted to say, but I didn't know where to begin. My hand holding the pen started shaking. The only lights that made it onto the paper were worthless scribbles. I needed to thank her. I needed to tell her I was sorry, and also... It was evening, and I was at a restaurant, working like always. I had nowhere else to go, and work kept my mind occupied. It was only a few hours ago that I was in that building. When I saw Edgar's eyes open, I ignored Henry calling after me and ran out of the room. If we were never going to be able to see each other again, I thought it would be best if he didn't see me there. I couldn't pretend it had never happened, but I needed to forget. I decided that was the only way I could keep myself going. Excuse me, miss. A voice from behind me shook me out of my thoughts. Oh, sorry, I said. I'll be right with you. I quickly wiped the tears from my eyes and turned around. A middle-aged man was standing at the entrance to the restaurant. Finally, how does Edgar? Is a young man named Edgar here? The man asked me. Hearing the name brought a sudden sharp pain to my chest. I thought I could usually find him at his restaurant, he continued. I started, but I stopped myself. He isn't here today. Oh, that's a shame, he said. How about Henry? Shook my head, he let out a disappointed sigh. Well, if you see either of them, could you let them know I'll be at the inn? As he turned to leave, I noticed his jacket had an emblem with a fish on it. I promised him I would, but after he left, I regretted not telling him Edgar wouldn't be coming back. That night, I closed the restaurant without seeing Edgar. It occurred to me that every night would be like this from now on. I felt an emptiness inside of me. Closing for the day, huh? I heard a voice as I locked the front door and turned to go home. It was Henry. What do you want? Couldn't figure out if seeing him made me more sad or angry. He didn't say anything, just handed me a folded slip of paper. I didn't read it, he said quietly. I expected him to leave, but he just turned his back to me and stood there. I opened the paper. It was covered in shaky writing. This is the first letter I've ever written. I can't seem to organize my thoughts, so please forgive me. Machines don't know how to forget. We can faithfully record data or faithfully delete it. That's all. I thought that for someone like me, forgetting would be as easy and simple as deleting a file, not something to regret or mourn. But as I write this now, I'm filled with a strange feeling, like I don't want to forget. It's because I met you. You who accepted me, despite the fact that I have no blood in my veins and no heart in my chest. You saw me not as a machine, but as a person. You brought love and beauty into the life of this simple puppet. Thank you. I'm sure it must be disappointing for us to part like this. I'm sorry for that. The lie I lived is too big to beg your forgiveness for. I only ask that you don't be angry with Henry. Finally, I want to express the feelings I've been holding in my heart since I first met you. May you find all the happiness in the world. That is my true prayer for you. I fell to my knees, crying, gripping the letter in my hands. I couldn't stop my tears, and I didn't care if my sobbing echoed throughout the dark streets. I didn't care if anyone saw me or what they thought. Edgar was the name out through my sobs. Hearing me, Henry turned around. His eyes were puffy and he had a pained expression. Please, I looked up at him. Help me. He met my gaze. I hesitated. I understand. I stood alone in front of the door and he had brought me to. Once he had gotten there, he told me it was as far as he could take me. As he turned to leave, I told him about the man who had come to visit the restaurant. His expression grew serious, but he said nothing and continued walking. When after that matter now, I took a deep breath and stepped through the door. Where are you? The room was filled with researchers in white lab coats. They rotted around the workbench. Lying on top of the workbench was Edgar. How did I get in here? Shouted one of the researchers. This is a restricted area. I returned. I walked forward. Give me Edgar, I told him. Some of them looked at each other and chuckled. Oh, you're the girl who was here the other day, said one. Know that all of Edgar's data has already been extracted for analysis, said another. The Edgar you knew doesn't exist anymore. His feelings were real, I said, my voice cracking. No, said the researcher. That's not possible because artificial intelligence are not human. Artificial intelligences. Die Mehrzahl davon klingt weird. They are simply tools. Compilations of technology and techniques. Are tools the only things you care about? I asked. The only thing you can see? What are you talking about? Said the researcher. Did you even try to see the bonds he created? I pointed to Edgar. The circle of people he brought together. I feel the same way, said a voice from behind me. The man who had visited the restaurant earlier entered the room. He and I still have things to discuss, I said. I need to thank him for helping me. Another civilian? Exclaimed one of the researchers. What is security doing? It doesn't matter what you say, said another. You're not going to stop our research for such sentimental reasons. That's fine, chime in yet another one. You can't change our decision. Well, if sentimental agreements won't work, we'll just have to go through more fisher channels, won't we? A deep voice reverberated through the room as a pair of footsteps approached from the hallway. The Bracer Guild has received an official request from the Fisherman's Guild for the return of Edgar. The man held out his Bracer badge. It seems we made it just in time. The woman with him let out a sigh of relief. Yeah, didn't think we would be having him out again so soon. It was Boris and Bella. Upon hearing Boris's words, the researcher's expression changed. Now do you see just how many people care about Edgar? Step forward. I'm begging you, please give him back to us. Looking at our reinforcements, they started to shrink back. But think of the risk, one stammered. If an artificial intelligence develops its own will, it can no longer be controlled. Yes, said another. If you can't control him, there's no telling what he might do. Someone else might even try to take him and use him for malicious purposes. But, started. Even in the faces of all support, they still refused to return him to us. He refused to give up too, however. In the middle of our send-off, a familiar voice broke the silence. Then let me make suggestions. After like a long time, I slowly opened my weary eyes. My mind felt hazy and my body was sluggish. I lay there, staring at the ceiling of my dorm room for a bit before turning to the side. There I saw Clementine sitting next to my bed. Her eyes were full of tears, but she was smiling more brightly than I'd ever seen her. I found out what happened later. Thanks to everyone, my personality was re-uploaded back to my body. I was allowed to keep living as Edgar, so long as I didn't leave town. Clementine had agreed to stay with me and would be confined to the town as well. She said it didn't matter, however, as long as we could be together. But the morning after all that, I'll never forget the words you said to me, the ones I'd always wanted to hear you say. Good morning, Edgar. The end. sweet, aber auch nicht, was ich erwartet hätte als kleine Story. I guess wir haben auch mal so eine kleine AI-Story hier drin. Why not? I mean, es passt rein in Kiseki. So, wenn ihr aber schon dabei sind, ich glaube... Lass mich das mal ganz kurz checken. Habe ich hier eine Liste dafür? Miscellaneous? Nee. Itemlist. Booklist, genau. Wir haben Imperial Chronicles. Wir haben halt das Acte bis 10. Und wir haben noch 2 Substories. Drei. Wie viele Tage sind wir drin? July 17th, okay. Wir kriegen hier noch ein Buch. Wir haben noch einen Break Record, die noch decrypted werden muss. Aber ansonsten, wir haben auch die ganzen 3 kleineren Side Stories. Also können wir die auch gleich machen. Ich denke mal, das wird jetzt ein zweiter Part, also noch ein Part werden, aber ja. Sorry. Es werden 2 Lesestunden back-to-back werden, sozusagen. Meine Stimme wird mich zwar, also zumindest mein Hals killt mich zwar jetzt schon dafür, aber okay. Hoffentlich ist nicht etwas kürzer. The Life of a Tomatonio. Part 1. Tomatoes leaving the nest. Once upon a time, there was a tomato named Tomatonio. He was proud to be born a tomato, and he strove to be a great tomato so he could achieve his dream of being eaten one day. Tomatino worked hard every day to make his dream a reality, and the farmer raising him continuously gave Tomatino words of encouragement. I'm so proud of you. I hope you can grow up to be a delicious tomato and make people happy. Tomatino never stopped pursuing his dream, and he eventually grew up to a plump, brilliant red tomato. However, a lazy tomato mocked Tomatino for his dream. Ha! Working hard is not cool. It's much cooler to slack off. Tomatonio ignored the lazy tomato's words. There was also a skinny crow who quarreled with Tomatonio since the day they met. When the crow had come to steal tomatoes, Tomatonio would proudly share his dreams, telling the crow, "One day I'm going to become a delicious tomato dish and make people happy." Or for the crow to mock him in reply. If you made it to the market, he would either be left unsold on the shelves or go straight into the trash. Despite his words, Tomatonio was determined to accomplish his dreams, and no one could break his word. At least, harvest day had arrived. Tomatonio's heart filled with anticipation, for he'd been waiting for his whole life for this. Soon, however, the clear sunny sky became covered by dark, ominous clouds, and the wind began to blow. It was a typhoon. All the other tomatoes were helplessly blown away by the powerful winds. However, Tomatonio desperately clung to his vine with all his might. I won't give up until I achieve my dream of being eaten. Somehow, he managed to survive the stormy night, and when morning came, the typhoon had started to dissipate. Tomatonio was relieved to have survived, though he was quite upset at harvest day being ruined. He then felt something strange about his body. Filled with dread, he looked down. Oh no! His once plump, brilliant red body had been devastated after enduring the storm. Das ist schon jetzt so eine dumme Story, dass ich gerade auch einfach automatisch so eine dumme Verlesestimme geswitcht bin. Der. Das kam einfach gerade natürlich rein. Part 2. Tomatonio falls off the vine. Someone called out to Tomatonio as he stared at his own body in shock. It was a lazy tomato who had also survived the storm due to its small size. Nobody will want to eat you like that now. The lazy tomato cheered. Despite this, Tomatonio was still confident about his body, from his brilliantly red color to his deliciousness. But at the moment, one last wind from the typhoon passed through the field, turning up dirt and dust. Tomatonio desperately clung to his vine again, but this time his efforts were in vain, for the vine holding him finally snapped. Carried by the wind, Tom Antonio tumbled toward the forest. His brilliantly red body became scuffed and scratched and covered in dirt. It seemed to go on forever. He finally came to a stop and found himself in the middle of a vast forest. As Tom Antonio sat there stunned, he heard footsteps nearby and glanced around for the sound. He found himself face to face with a powerful boar notorious for destroying crops. "Ah, there's a delicious-looking tomato on the ground here," the boar said, moving his salivating mouth closer. But Tom Antonio wasn't exactly thrilled to be in the boar's presence. He was delighted at the boar's words, thinking that he'd be eaten. However, the boar instead seized the lazy tomato, who has also been blown away by the typhoon's last wind. The heavy-looking lazy tomato grinned with pride as it vanished inside the boar's mouth, but soon the boar cried, "Gross!" and promptly spat what was left of the lazy tomato back out. "I've never had a tomato taste this bad." The boar then glanced over at Tom Antonio. And that one looks even worse. I know it isn't delicious. He left the two tomatoes on the forest floor. Tom Antonio was deeply hurt by the boar's words. "Please don't judge me by the looks. I know I taste delicious." His pained voice faded away into nothingness and was swallowed by the dark forest. Time passed and Tom Antonio found his freshness quickly fading, but he was still determined. "I'm not giving up. No matter where I am, I'm still proud of being a tomato. I'm going to be the most delicious tomato ever and bring happiness to whoever heeds me." Tom Antonio managed to cheer himself up with his own words and, using the last of his strength, cleaned up his wounds, tightened himself up. Suddenly, his mud covered his skin regained its radiant luster and reflected the dazzling color of sunset. After a short time, a black shadow appeared in the orange sky and descended in front of Tom Antonio. Part 3, a fitting end. It was the skinny crow from before who was always mean to Tom Antonio. "What's Mr. Goody Two-Shoes doing in a place like this?" the crow snarked. "And you've gotten awfully ugly since the last time I saw you." But Tom Antonio faced the crow, his face still filled with determination. "Go ahead and laugh, but I still haven't given up on my dream," he said defiantly. The crow smiled devilishly. "I knew you would say that. You just don't know when to give up, do you?" Suddenly the crow seized the vane on top of Tom Antonio's head and flew high into the air, soaring across the orange sky to a destination unknown. The other crows and forest animals gazed in awe at the flying crow. "Why aren't you eating the tomato?" they would ask, and the crow had a response for each one of them. "Instead of a fancy gourmand like myself, I know the perfect pair he isn't for an ugly tomato like him." Tom Antonio worried about where he was being taken, but nevertheless thanked the crow for rescuing him from the forest. The crow only scoffed coldly in response and continued flying. After some time, Tom Antonio finally succumbed to his exhaustion and fell asleep, entrusting the crow with his life. The crow spent the entire night flying, and soon Tom Antonio awoke to the cool morning fog. They finally arrived at a restaurant owned by a legendary chef. The crow deposited Tom Antonio on the restaurant's kitchen counter and perched on the windowsill. "This place is perfect for an extraordinary tomato like you," the crow said. Then he scoffed again. "Ha! I must be an idiot. I can't believe I actually respected determination." Suddenly the crow fell off the windowsill. A soft thud was heard shortly after. "Mr. Crow!" Tom Antonio cried out. The crow had stopped stealing from the field since meeting Tom Antonio. This new lifestyle left him physically weak. Tom Antonio felt sad for the crow. "Thank you, Mr. Crow. You're a good friend to me." As he reflected on his memories with the crow, the legendary chef and the other chefs entered the kitchen. "What's this?" Top of the kitchen counter was a hideous-looking tomato covered in leaves and dirt. "We ought to throw this ugly thing out," the chef said. The other chefs agreed and made to grab Tom Antonio, but the legendary chef stopped them. "No, wait just a moment," the legendary chef said. "This is no ordinary tomato. Look not at its appearance, but its substance." The legendary chef scooped up Tom Antonio gently and washed him carefully. "It may not look like a good tomato, but I'm certain this is an extraordinary and delicious tomato. I can make a great dish out of this." The chefs murmured at these words, and the legendary chef immediately started provoking me with the determined tomato who finally had his dream realized. And thus, Tom Antonio was reborn into a great dish. The children will despise tomatoes, but grow to love tomatoes after eating this great dish and be filled with happiness. and he would never forget how delicious this tomato tastes for the rest of their lives. Also ist das ein Kinderbuch mit Tomatenpropaganda für Kinder. Sehr schön. Why did I read that again? I don't fucking know. Wie lang sind die bei alle jeweils? Okay. Gobby NDM Museum. Yeah. Part 1. Gobby goes to the museum. Once upon a time there was a boy named Gobby who lived in Erebonia with his parents. One day his parents took him to a magnificent imperial museum, which contained the empire's turbulent history. Oh, Gobby was too young to understand and thought the museum was an all-boring place with all-boring exhibits. His mother gave him a warning. There are many people inside the museum, so don't let go of my hand, okay? Kids and their families who become lost inside the museum will be devoured by demons. But Gobby doesn't listen to his mother's words. Yeah, whatever, he muttered under his breath. Several minutes later, Gobby grew bored with the museum and wanted to go exploring. His parents were distracted by an exhibit. Gobby let go of his mother's hand and wandered around the museum. He waded through this sluggish crowd and ended up in an open room. There was a large mirror on display with a winged dragon and powerful beasts. Gobby was moved by these mythical creatures, but soon felt disappointed upon realizing that they couldn't possibly exist in real life. There was an old painting hanging next to the mirror. It had lots of small sealed caskets painted in a variety of sharp, vibrant colors. Gobby stared at this painting and soon felt uneasy. One of the caskets in the painting had its lid ajar and the paint on the casket was peeling. Gobby wasn't sure what the painting meant, but he was drawn to it nonetheless. He continued to stare at the painting until someone spoke to him from behind. He liked this painting. Gobby whirled around. There was a girl, slightly older than him, standing there with a warm smile. The girl continued without waiting for Gobby's answer. Museums are quiet and only have old stuff lying around, which is boring, but I really like this painting. Gobby was drawn to the girl for having the same thoughts as him. Feel the same way? And look how this casket is home here. It's like the color just popped out of it. The girl's face brightened and she took Gobby's hand. We really get each other. You found something else cool? Wanna come see it with me? Gobby's face also brightened at having a companion, and he agreed to go with her. The two walked around the museum together, exploring the different rooms and exhibits. Gobby loved what the girl showed him, and he completely forgot how bored he had been with his parents. He was stuck in hospital up until now, the girl admitted. I'm really glad I can explore the museum with you, she added, blushing. Thanks, I like being with you way more than being with my parents, Gobby confessed. The girl looked concerned and asked him where his parents were. I left them at some exhibit, Gobby said, shrugging. I got bored with them. The girl nodded. Let's see. You finally finished exploring the museum. Right, the girl said. I want to show you something super special before you go. Gobby didn't question the girl's words, and she took him by the hand again. The museum crowd began thinning out, and the pair soon found themselves in an empty room. There was an ancient door before them. Gobby felt as if the door was staring ominously at him. It's past here, but the door's too heavy for me to open, the girl said. But that's why you're here. You're a strong boy, aren't you? She ushered Gobby closer to the door. You can open it. Gobby placed her hand on the door's handle as the girl kept encouraging him to open the door. Part 2. Gobby encounters the unknown. Gobby tried opening the door, but it didn't budge. Strange. Annoyed, he started pushing and pulling the door with all his might. Finally, the heavy door swung open with a loud groan. A cold gust howled at the pair, and they saw a dark stairwell leading underground. There's something super rare down here. Come on! The girl took Gobby's hand once more and started leading him down the stairwell, but Gobby stopped her. Right, aren't you gonna get lost going down here? I don't know where this leads, and it could be dangerous. Although Gobby had lots of fun exploring the museum with the girl, he was hesitant about exploring the underground. Girl looked at him puzzled. Are you scared? I thought you were brave and strong. Her face fell and she hung her head. This was all that was needed for Gobby's bride to get the better of him. Huh? No way! I just thought you might be scared. Here! The girl's face brightened. Oh really? Oh, that's so nice of you. She smiled and led him down the stairwell again. The two continued walking down this dark stairwell with the girl leading Gobby. We're almost there, she said. Her grip on Gobby's hands was starting to get stronger with every step. Gobby lost track of how long they had been descending the stairwell, and suddenly the girl stopped. We're here. Gobby stared around. They appeared to be in a room that looked exactly like the painting with gaskets he had seen earlier when he first met the girl. There were several gaskets lined up, with only one with its lid ajar. The cold air in the room filled the space with tension, but Gobby had completely forgotten about his hesitancy. He was extremely moved to see the painting in real life. "Oh, it's just like the stuff in the painting," he exclaimed joyfully, his words reverberating around the room. This girl smiled maliciously. "You know," she said quietly, "they call this place the Catacombs. A place where no one can hear you and no one will rescue you." Gobby whirled around at the girl's disturbing words. So the girl's sweet, saccharine face began distorting and turned into a black shadow with red, glowing eyes. The soft hand also turned into shadow and began crushing Gobby's hand. "Arr!" Gobby screamed. He desperately tried to free himself from the shadow's grip, but she was too strong. And he started shaking with terror at the situation. The shadow laughed with malice, traces of the girl's voice still present. "There is no need to scream. Everyone's already awake, thanks to you." The gasket began rattling, and more black shadows began to emerge from them. Gobby froze, paralyzed with pure horror, his mind blank as he stared all around him. Gobby suddenly remembered what his mother had told him. "There are many people inside the museum, so don't let go of my hand, okay? Kids and their families will become lost inside the museum and be devoured by demons." The words were coming back to haunt him. She was telling the truth. He hung his head, feeling remorseful, and the black shadows started to advance on him. "If only I'd listened. I'm sorry, Mom." Gobby accepted his fate as the shadows opened their mouths and converged on him. Part 3. Gobby learned his lesson. Suddenly there was a loud rumbling from deep within the catacombs, and an enormous dust cloud as tall as the ceiling made its way toward Gobby. Instinctively, Gobby covered his eyes with his free hand, as the small specks of sand within the cloud pelted him. The cloud vanished, and Gobby lowered his hand. Though his vision was obstructed by the dust, he was able to barely make out a giant silhouette in front of him. "It cannot be!" shocked the black shadow holding Gobby's hand loose in its grip. Gobby didn't waste another second. He darted out from the circle of the black shadows and formed around him, but a gravely voice soon stopped him. "Do not move, boy." Gobby momentarily straightened up and stopped as he had been commanded. He spoke once more. "Gentle spirits controlled by evil, I now grant you a passage back to ideas." Then beads of light surged towards Gobby in the shadows. The latter screamed in agony as the beads of light struck them, causing him to vanish. "Ah!" The familiar voice screamed. Gobby turned. The shadow that had gripped his hand was engulfed in the light, and the girl re-emerged as the screaming faded. Gobby and the girl stared at each other, silence falling between them. Finally, the girl spoke, tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry I tricked you, but I wanted you to know that I had fun exploring the museum with you. I said we were almost friends. The part was real." The beads of light bounced off the catacombs walls and shone on the barrier, and the girl began to fade away into the light. Gobby rushed toward her and grabbed her hand. "I believe you," he exclaimed. "Because of you, I was able to enjoy the museum for the first time. I'm glad I met you. And we're already friends, right? I can't just stand here and let a friend cry." He kept pulling his heart out to the girl, but she continued to fade away. She initially looked surprised at his words, but soon gave him the same warm smile she had given him when they first had met. "Thank you. You're right. I can't cry now that we are finally friends." Gobby's face fell, and he could no longer feel the girl's hand in his. "Don't worry," the girl continued, still smiling. "I know we'll meet again someday." She vanished into the light, and Gobby stared at the spot where she had vanished, his vision blurred by his tears. Eventually, the light faded away, and a familiar voice spoke, bringing Gobby back to his senses. "It appears as if we made a good friend." The dust cloud contained the giant silhouette clear, and Gobby could now clearly see its identity. "A dragon?" Gobby said, stunned. It was indeed a magnificent dragon with brilliant wings. The dragon spoke again, its voice reverberating around the catacombs. "You were nearly consumed by evil spirits. Only those who do not listen to their parents will be led astray. Sound familiar, boy?" Gobby's elation at meeting a dragon subsided as the shiver ran down his spine. "Yes," he admitted, feeling guilty. "Mom told me to stay close, but I didn't listen." The dragon stared at him with a piercing gaze. "You do know what you did wrong, do you not, boy?" Gobby nodded silently. This rumor that exists in this museum, the dragon continued. When children break their promises with their parents, they shall be consumed by demons. You're attacked, boy, but what about your parents? We froze in her heart at the dragon's words. No, not mom and dad too. Please save them, he begged. But the dragon dropped its gaze and shook his head. Your parents were genuinely worried about you, the same way you worry about them now. But you brought this upon yourself, boy. Your mistakes cannot be taken back. God felt remorse for the first time in his life. He felt awful for being a nuisance to his parents and not listening to them. He fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. The dragon stared at the crying boy for a moment. However, you can shape the future with your actions. You understand what will happen if you commit the same mistakes. Gabby rubbed his face and nodded. The dragon moved closer to him. Gabby could see his reflection in the dragon's piercing eyes. He suddenly felt as if he was being sucked into the dragon's eyes, and he began to lose his balance. Make choice your friend would be proud of, he thought he heard the dragon say. Gabby came around and attempted to sit up, but he felt something wrapped around his legs. Don't move, it's too dangerous. The boy said. He looked around. His mother was staring at him, while his father was carrying him. His eyes widened. Mom! Dad! You're okay! Gabby cried out. Where's the black shadow demon? His mother looked puzzled. What do you mean? Did he have a nightmare? She asked concerned. Gabby looked confused. You became tired after walking around the museum with us, so your father carried you after you fell asleep, she explained. Gabby still looked confused, but soon felt relief wash over him, and tears began to stream down his face again. His parents looked concerned and couldn't understand why their son was upset, but they confounded him regardless. Eventually, Gabby jumped off his father's back and insisted he walks on his own. Alright, but don't go running off, okay? His mother said, still rude. Just woke up, you might trip and fall. Gabby smiled. I know, but don't need to worry about me anymore. Sometime later, Gabby visited the museum again and tried finding the door to the catacombs. But he no such luck. He then returned to the painting of the catacombs. This time all the caskets were sealed, and there were no plants sprawling under a warm light. Looks better than before, he said, smiling. Gabby would never forget about a particular day, and he made sure not to worry anyone anymore ever again. After all, he thought, I can't do anything embarrassing if I'm gonna see her again. To his parents, who were stunned by his sudden maturity, they continued to love him and protect him all the same. As Gabby grew up, he kept the dragon words close to his heart, and eventually became a respectable and mature adult in Erebonia. Sind das alles so Kinderbücher? Naja. Ich stelle nochmal ganz kurz was. Und Alter, mein Hals ist mittlerweile. Boah. Ich weiß nicht, warum das Lesen anstrengender ist, als wie wenn ich einfach meine 2 Stunden Erklärungsvideo zu North of War gemacht habe. Ja, aber mein Hals nicht gleich so komplett K.O., aber irgendwie jetzt. Naja. Vielleicht Spaß heute, aber Tag mich anstrengend. So, Dear More Hero, Part 1, Birth of a Hero. A long time ago, a boy named Mark lived with Shino, his younger brother. Mark constantly sought attention and desired to become a great swordsman to protect his hometown. So he devoted himself to sword training. Shino saw shy and looked up to Mark, following him around and imitating everything he did. As time went on, Mark indeed became a great swordsman, with strength easily surpassing all others. One day, a large monster ambushed the town, and the townsfolk asked for soldiers to protect them. And while some people fled in terror, Mark stood strong and headed towards the monster. I will take my hometown, Mark cried valiantly. His words was not fit to dispatch the monsters. His sword was not fit to dispatch the monster, but he refused to give up and attack the monster with all his might. By the time the soldiers arrived, the monster turned tail and ran, and Mark proudly stood there on the battlefield, covered in blood and gashes. Thanks to Mark's heroic efforts, not a single person was injured, and peace was bestowed upon the town once again. Her mother, clutching her baby, thanked Mark, for she lived close to where the monster had appeared. Thank you, Mark, the mother said. You saved me and my child. I will tell her stories of your heroics when she's older. The baby smiled at Mark, and Mark would never forget his smile. Everyone in town praised Mark's bravery and regarded him as the local town hero. Happy that his artwork was paying off, Mark devoted himself to his sword training even more. After the day, Mark always received praise and adoration from the townsfolk wherever he and Shino went. He was given special treatment at popular establishments and received gifts from many people. She was awed by how much people admired his brother. How do I become a hero? He asked one day. It's simple, Shino, Mark responded. First you get strong like me, then when you defeat a truly horrible monster, you get recognition and finally become a hero. Shino nodded at his brother's advice. Okay, I work hard to become strong and be a hero too. Something had changed within Shino the day Mark became a hero. It seemed as if Mark always did everything right, but Shino was destined to fail. Shino had given in to this idea, but had given up on himself and his dreams in the process. But today, Shino had finally realized his dream, which was to become a hero. He would no longer live in his brother's shadow, but instead devote himself to become exactly like his brother. I found that later on, Shino studied under his brother's tutelage in order to become a hero. Mark continued his heroics in fighting monsters whenever they scourged the town. With each passing day, Mark's swordsmanship grew, and eventually he was able to tear common monsters asunder without batting an eye. After battles, Mark would always wipe the blood off his sword in a stunning fashion, which gave Shino a sense of pride and the drive he needed to improve his own swordsmanship. However, all the admiration and praise Mark received finally went to his head, and he came to the conclusion that he was superior to everyone. I'm the only one defeating monsters around here, Mark arrogantly told the townsfolk, giving me the same treatment as those who are too cowardly to face evil is an assault to my heroism. Shino didn't know any heroes, but Mark, he began to believe that what his brother said was true, and this pushed his desire to be a hero even more. Part 2. Adoration Twisted. Mark continued to defeat monsters every day to protect his status as the local town hero. However, eventually the monsters stopped appearing, meaning that Mark couldn't perform heroic feats as often. And he started losing fans and receiving less praise. Fine, Mark said heartily. If killing monsters here isn't enough, I'll just do something even greater. If we show the townsfolk even bigger and stronger heroics, they will be treated like a hero once more. So Mark started venturing into the forest to dispatch monsters daily in order to boast about his strength and seek more praise. Shino followed him every time in awe of his brother's feats. One day, a thief appeared in town. Mark easily killed the thief, but believing that wasn't enough, Mark ventured outside the town, killed all the thieves he could track down. Thanks to Mark's heroics, nothing would ever be stolen anymore, and Shino continued to follow his brother and watch him kill without hesitation. On another day, a burglar came to town, but Mark tailed him and killed him. However, Mark wasn't satisfied with just the burglar's death, so he tracked down the burglar's family and killed him as well. While Mark was able to protect the townsfolk from crime, the town itself became known as a ruthless and barbaric community because of Mark's violent justice. And the more Mark brandished his sword, the less the townsfolk regarded him as a hero. Fearful of Mark's brutality, the townsfolk distanced themselves from the murderous swordsman. Why are they shunning me, the local town hero and the savior? Mark was confused, but didn't bother asking anyone's opinion, not even that of Shino. He was so proud of himself, believing himself to be the perfect being. I know what I have to do. I must become even stronger and kill more enemies. Surely they will praise me and call me a hero once again. And so Mark remained blind as to why people no longer considered him a hero. Obsessed with being lauded as a hero again, he pursued his sword training once more. Part 3. Successor. The townsfolk were too terrified to stand up to Mark. I'm grateful to Mark for saving our town, one local remarked. But if I say or do the wrong thing, they assume I'm an enemy and have my head. The others shared in his sentiment and started praising Mark again, both out of fear and to calm his wrath. Mark seemed satisfied with this, so you finally remember how important a hero is, he again said to the crowd. Exterminating monsters is simply pest control. You see, if you don't kill them all as soon as they appear, they multiply and wreak havoc. They must be destroyed, and I want you all to help me. One day, Mark was tracking a kidnapper that had been spotted in town, with Shino following not too far behind. Mark ready gets some of the townsfolk who helped him uncover the kidnapper's identity and decided to catch the criminal in the act. Mark stealthily tailed the kidnapper and waited for the latter to approach the victim. Then pounced like a lion that had caught its prey. The kidnapper was dead before he even hit the ground. Mark grinned, proud of his heroic efforts. He then extended a hand to the kidnapper's victim. You saw that, didn't you? You're safe now. I killed the enemy. The victim was a young girl. Mark recognized her as the smiling baby he had saved all those years ago when he had first become a hero. But her face showed no traces of that bright smile. Instead, she stood there, dumbfounded and covered in the kidnapper's blood. Dead? Why? I was confused. He'd been expecting words of gratitude, looked down at the dead, bleeding man, and noticed the colorful bouquet and the birthday card. What's going on? Mark asked the stunned girl. I killed a man that kidnapped you. The girl stared at Mark, her pale face that was initially full of fright, now full of hatred. Murderer? You murderer? What did my father do to deserve this? Mark was shocked at the young girl's words and couldn't believe someone of her age was filled with such rage. Saving this girl as a baby had started Mark's career as a hero. He felt a chill down his spine without saying anything. He turned around and left the girl with her dead father, Shino following close behind. Mark had no idea at the time that the kidnapper was the girl's father. Due to family arguments, the family had to sneak into town. The father had to sneak into town to see his daughter. Which was where the kidnapping rumor started. With her birthday drawing close, he'd been looking for the perfect opportunity to deliver his gifts to her. Mark fled the town, wearing the sweat off his face. He had killed many monsters up until this point, but it wasn't until the girl called him a murderer that he realized he'd been killing other humans. I've been killing monsters, not people. Killing monsters makes people happy, so it's the right thing to do, alright? He wanted it out, trying to convince himself. She shrugged. Took down the enemy, so why don't we go tell the townsfolk? He asked. Mark felt unnerved. Why don't you tell him instead of me? He requested. But why though? She asked casually. After all, you're always rushing to brag about your heroics to them as soon as you can anyway. Mark felt even more unnerved at Chino's detached words. The girl's voice started echoing inside Mark's head. Murderer? You murderer? What did my father do to deserve this? Mark felt pure horror for everything he had done. He finally confessed to Shino. I'm going to stop pretending to be a hero. If you want to become a hero, you should. With that, Mark handed his prized sword, which was still dripping with blood, to his younger brother. Shino grinned, his eyes alight with alarming joy. Really? Then I'll be here in your place. Unable to hide his elation at finally achieving his dream of becoming a hero, Shino accepted the sword and plunged it into Mark's heart without a moment's hesitation. Ha! I killed a monster, so that makes me a hero, doesn't it, Mark? Shino beamed as his older brother fell to the ground. He wiped the blood off the sword and sheathed it with pride. He is now the spitting image of Mark. All that needs to happen now is for the townsfolk to see that I am the hero. As Mark watched Shino joyously stride into town, he repented his deadly sins and closed his eyes for the last time. Ja. Irgendwie eine brutale Story am Ende, aber alright. Anscheinend ist es irgendwelche Kinderstories, um halt Kinder auf den richtigen Pfad zu bringen, so nach dem Motto. Anyway. Da die Aktion gerade relativ meinen Hals killt. Und wir eigentlich als nächstes in die Sidequest-Section kommen. Und nach der Sidequest-Section wird es ein bisschen dauern könnte und noch viel Lesen vor sich hat. Wir dann noch die ganzen Bonding-Events haben. Aber ich glaube, hier im Break hier nach der ganzen Lesestunde. Und wir machen einfach beim nächsten Mal weiter. Es soll jetzt nicht erwartet, dass es jetzt spontan die Lesestunde jetzt schon kommt, aber da es jetzt gerade gepasst hat. Here you go. Ich hoffe, es hat euch noch dennoch gefallen. Sonst das gerne Feedback und Supporter. Und dann sehen wir uns beim nächsten Mal. Wird hoffentlich nicht schmerzenden Hals und Und bis dahin, ciao und bye bye.